Hello, everybody. This is Brandon Clayman, and we are going to do a live platform demo of Questeras. So thank you for joining. We really appreciate you spending some time here. This webinar is going to be approximately about 30 minutes, and we're going to focus on the service provider portion of our platform. So we're working towards helping the service providers get up and running and get your profiles happening. So just some basic housekeeping. If you have a question, just go ahead and type your question into the question box. There's a questions section that you can simply ask. And we will be recording this, so you can reference it after the webinar is done. And you'll probably get that through an email from our team. And I look forward to going through this with you. So before we dive deep into the platform, I just wanted to introduce you to Max Pavan, who is the founder and CEO of Questeras. He's here with us. Say hi, Max.
Good morning, everyone.
And then I'm on the call as well. It's Brandon Clayman, and Max and I are working together. I'm a marketing consultant and help provide Questeras with some marketing services. We also have John and Mark. Mark Beaver is the person who has helped develop the platform with the direction of both John and Max. John is also a co-founder of Questeras. So Max, why don't you tell everybody more about what Questeras is and give us from your visionary, inspiration. Tell us what it is.
For sure. Questeras started about a couple of years ago, basically understanding that information is becoming part of the way we live this world. So Questera wants to create a platform that allows users all over North America, basically, that chooses cremation to have part of their cremains belong to that special place on the planet that had a special meaning during their life. So by creating a network of licensed service providers, cemetery, columbarium, mausoleum, funeral homes, ash carrying licensed service provider, we would like to reach their community and allow them to reach a North America network of people that want to have their ashes scattered, returned, and buried in a special place. So the platform connects the two sides, allows the service provider to reach a broader audience, and allows the user that maybe does not have the means or the time to fly to that special place to connect with the service provider and have their cremains scattered, interred, buried in that place that has a special meaning. So we want to validate people's life journey, the people that choose cremation, and to belong to that special place. That's the vision of Questeras.
Beautiful. Thank you, Max. That's awesome. So what we're going to do is show you the back end and the whole interaction of what takes place with service providers. Before I dive into that, I wanted to just show you, from a consumer standpoint, what we are doing is bringing an audience to our platform. They join for free. They then can search for a variety of service providers in different categories and locations. And then from that, they are able to select that provider and related service and go ahead and either communicate with the service provider, or they can go ahead and actually put down a deposit on a service. And then what happens is the system manages all the communications and payments and then supports the process of making sure everything gets done. So this is, it's also a completely mobile responsive platform as well. So this works pretty much on any device at any time. And then on the search side of it, you can see here we've got our service providers, featured services. Here's a newer service provider that's recently joined. And you can see here, you can just simply hit view service, and then the details appear. You've got location, who the operator is, business name, map, photos, and these are the buttons for contacting and confirm and place deposit. So they're specific to that service provider. And then users can search all along the left. They can narrow down their search with filters. They can search any field they want or based on location. And then we have a vast database of service providers who are not benefiting from the platform just yet because they have to unlock their profiles. So these are all unlocked profile or locked profiles, and as soon as you see yourself on here, the best thing to do is unlock it, and then that way you can go ahead and start adding your services. So the service providers who are getting the most exposure right now are right here. And you can tell because they've all uploaded their photos and added all their services with their prices. So let's go back to the presentation, and I'll show you specifically what happens is once you've created your service, don't stop there, because if you only have, like if you have 5 or 6 services, then just add them all. You go into your platform in the back end and you hit create service, and then you can go in there and add and edit all of the specific fields. In fact, let me just quickly show you in here under this particular view, you can edit your existing service. It's really important to make sure that your description is as clear as possible about the related service. And another cool thing here is that if you have like an additional brochure or PDF document or another reference or to a specific page off your website, you can actually add that here as a document link, pick your categories, name of service, location, zip code, postal code. We're mainly servicing Canada and the United States. And then the tags are also important too, because as users are searching, you want to make sure that you're being discovered. And this is where you can add all of your tags, and then of course add your website, upload some photos, and then this binds your whole service profile for that one service. And as well, you put your price in there too. If you want to add another service, which we encourage you to do, go ahead and create service and fill everything out again. As soon as you hit save, it goes live and it's published to your profile off the website right away. So then what happens is we give, this is what the service looks like to a client, and they can go ahead and write out, if they found something that they're interested in, they will then go ahead and place a deposit. So it'll take 10% of the total service price. In this case, it's just a sample, so it's $10 on a $100 service. And the user securely can use any credit card they want and place the order for that deposit, and then add any additional information. So this is this is them engaging the service provider to get started on the process. The credit card information is here, and then what happens is they'll get an email communication on both ends. So the service provider receives the notification instantly through our communication platform, through email, as well as inside of the platform. And then the customer gets one as well. Everything's tracked, everything's easily made viewable so that the communication is fully transparent between the two and done securely. So those are the notifications, and when you get a new order coming in, that's what it'll look like. And in terms of the service provider's perspective, we've deliberately built into the platform, this approval process, because if you get the order, you may not necessarily want to take it on. It depends on if you're available, willing, and able, have the ability to do so, or you might have to make some adjustments. But you do have the option as a service provider here to accept the request. And once that request has been accepted, then again, both parties are notified, and it's moving the process along the entire experience of delivering your services. So you can see here that on the customer side, they also have the option they could cancel if they want, or they can communicate using the system. So they can go ahead and ask questions or continue developing the relationship. All the information's here as well. So, once that initial transaction takes place, we are obviously encouraging customers and service providers to use the communication system that we've built, But at any point in time, a phone call could be made, emails can occur, to help make sure that this whole process is properly done. Again, if you have any questions throughout, just go ahead and ask. So this is what this looks like in terms of accepting the request, a little bit more zoomed in. There's the total price and then the buttons there. And then, of course, you've got the communication thread again. And a nice thing, too, is that every email that's being sent back and forth through the system allows the users to quickly just hit the button, reply to the message, and move forward. So these are what these emails look like. And then once the service has been accepted or the order or request has been accepted, another communication is then sent to confirm that. The next step is when you log in as a customer and you've placed the order and it's been accepted, then what we need to do is set the legacy date. So this is the preferred legacy date for when we'd like the service to take place. And we've built into this as well, there's a 7-day window for the terms to be accepted also. So we're trying to help manage your, part of the process here to help streamline, this whole order taking process and communications. So this is again showing you some screenshots of what this looks like. And this is what it looks like on your end as a service provider. So for example, if let's say there were some changes in the service that you're rendering, then what you do is you can add additional costs. You have the option to do that. And then of course the user agrees and that then becomes your agreement in total. So if you started out at 100, and let's say you spoke to the client and or you're using the communications and there's additional services being rendered, then you can make adjustments to the original agreement that then get reapproved, and of course that will then become part of the whole transaction. And then after the legacy date has been agreed upon and confirmed, you've got the email communications that happen. So in terms of the specifics around the payment, so we're asking that the customers submit a 10% deposit, and then what will happen is once that's all accepted and the total amount has been agreed upon, the full payment is due, I believe it's 7 days prior to the actual legacy date. And Max, if you'd like to confirm that, go ahead.
Yes, indeed. So basically the system allows the user to contact the service provider with a 10% deposit. They will have 7 days to finalize the details of service. Once the legacy date has been chosen, legacy date meaning the date that the service will be rendered, the contract is binding. The platform will hold the payment in escrow within the platform. 7 days prior to the legacy date, the user will actually pay the balance of the service within the platform. On the legacy date, the service provider will provide the service. Once the service has been rendered, 72 hours after the service has been rendered, the platform will transfer the balance of the cost to the service provider minus the percentage that Questeras will retain. So as a reminder, Questera retains 15% of the service that is posted. The service provider decides the service and the cost and the condition of the service. So basically, there's no cost for the service provider to be part of the platform. He will get paid minus the service, the percentage, and this will allow the transaction to flow very smoothly. Questeras will handle the booking, the reservation, the contact, and the payment. So we think we bring added value to the service provider by allowing them to reach a broader audience with the same services they usually provide locally. And we put in place a platform that shows value to the service provider and a alternative option of services for the user.
You know what, Max? I'd like you to expand on the original idea around, Questeras connecting people throughout North America to provide unique legacy experiences. So if you have someone, for example, in New York and they want to, deliver a legacy and honor and respect the person who's passed on, let's say they wanted to do ash scattering in somewhere in, let's say, California, can you speak to that? Like, can you explain how Questeras is helping that happen?
Basically, the goal of Questera is we all come from dust to live as dust. So we have no choice where we are born. We live our life and work take us wherever we need to go. But at the end of our life, our own experiences have dictated or formed who we are. So at the end of it all, we should be able to decide where we want to belong just because of the meaning that place has with us. So if I lived in New York and I travel for business in California and in Malibu, and that place had a special meaning, at the end of it all, whether I do it at pre-need, and need, or post-need, I should be able to let my family know that those are my wishes and I like to belong to that special place because of the meaning they had to me. So Questeras is basically reinforcing that relationship that we have with the planet, which most likely, regardless of our beliefs, is the longest relationship that we have.
Okay. Thank you. So let's go back to the presentation here and carry on. So once all the conditions are accepted and everything's done, then that final payment is then required 7 days prior to your legacy future date. So that's what this looks like from the user's perspective. Finalize the payment. They then will pay the balance owing. And of course, no services will be rendered until that final payment has been made. And this is what it looks like in here. That's the final order. Final payment received, everyone gets notified, and then from there, you go ahead and render the service on the specific legacy date. These are all the different transactions. Everything's nicely documented, so there's a good clean paper trail for everything. And this is your order. You can also update the status of that order. So as things are coming in, started, in progress, received, so on and so forth. So it depends on what type of service it is, and that will then change options inside of the status. And the clients then get notified as the change of status occurs. Similar to any type of online ordering system like Amazon, anytime a status changes, then we all get notifications. So it's cool that you're able to have that option as a service provider. And I don't even think in most cases that that's even happening for a lot of these service providers right now, because we're able to now connect you with a audience that isn't really local to you. And so that's part of why we have this platform, is to help connect people through longer distances. So this is the email notifications that come through, payment received. And then at the end, as you've completed the experience, then you can look for getting a positive rating. So obviously the more ratings you get, the better you'll be, and the easier it is for future customers to build confidence in your service providing to make a decision moving forward. So that's the whole back end of the service provider world, and how the orders are taken and the services are, the whole process here. I'm just going to show you from a service provider's view. These are the orders that have come in, and you can view them, deposit paid, who's the user, actions. You've got a whole list, so as they start to come in, you can track and manage everything of what's going on. There's the update status, feature, so on and so forth. So I'm going to hit send. Notifications will be then sent. We also have the ongoing discussion thread. So if you were going in here, everything is documented securely so that you can see the whole conversation that takes place. That's why we encourage you using it, because it's all documented. It's all here for everyone to see. This is the exact service, the price, updates. If the user has additional messages, they'll appear here. And then, of course, your conversation thread moving forward. So this is our platform. If there's any questions, now's a good time to ask. We have Max here on the line, who is the founder, and he's happily able to answer any of your questions. Occasionally, we will feature service providers in our monthly newsletter that goes out to our customers, the users who are on our platform. The platform is growing. We're consistently marketing and getting it out there. We understand that it's somewhat of a newer concept, but we've done a lot of research in the industry, and Max has a good, clear understanding of where this is going. And so we're here to stay. And we look forward to continuing to have these types of events and webinars to showcase, what this platform is capable of doing and how you can get in. Again, it's free to join as a service provider, and we encourage you to build out as many services as you can on the platform. So if there's no other questions or anybody has any further information that they need, I think we're done.
Sounds good. So thank you everyone for joining.
Okay.
Hopefully, we're looking forward to you to join Questeras and to be part of our community.
Great. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the day. Thank you very much.
Bye.